Now, you're hearing a lot of stuff about Brexit. Hey, everybody in the UK are all racists, and they and they want to get out of the UK because they're racists. You know, uh, that's kind of the same thing that they're saying about Trump in the United States. Hey, all these working class people are following Trump because they're racists, and we just have to somehow defeat racism, and Trump won't exist anymore. And I've said this before. What Trump relies on, what makes him powerful, is bad economic situations that favor the elite, right? So the elite, since Reagan, since trickle-down economics started, have been screwing the workers. The workers haven't gotten a raise since about 1973, 74. Productivity way outstripping wages. So what happens is people see their jobs leaving. There's no jobs left. They're afraid to get sick. We don't have universal health care like the rest of the Western industrial world. And if their kids gonna go to college, everybody's in debt. It's real hard. 50% of all wage earners in America earn less than $30,000. We have the biggest income disparities since the Gilded Age, even though we're living in very prosperous times, record-breaking numbers on Wall Street, corporate profits at record, but the people don't feel it, and everybody says, oh, why are you following Trump? Because you're a racist. No, that makes people vulnerable to demagogues. That's why Trump works on these people, because nobody is giving them an answer. Nobody is talking about their problems. We have the Democrats saying we're going to do TPP, which screws over workers even more. So that's kind of what happened in with Brexit. So I was reading Glenn Greenwald, and he made the same observation. He says Brexit is only the latest proof of the insularity and failure of Western establishment institutions. Glenn Greenwald made the observation that the media, the establishment media, reacted one of two ways to the Brexit thing. He said the first reaction was an earnest, candid attempts to understand what motivated voters to make this choice, even if that means indicting one's own, indicting one's own establishment circles. So that's like taking a sober look at what the problem is, even if the problem might be us. So that's one reaction. Here's the other one. Petulant, self-serving, simple-minded attacks on disobedient pro-Leave voters for being primitive, xenophobic bigots, and stupid to boot, all to evade any reckoning with their own responsibility. That's from the mainstream. That's from the establishment media. That's from the establishment in general. And so he goes on and says, virtually every reaction that falls into the former category emphasizes the profound failures of Western establishment factions, meaning the people who took a sober look at why this happened, willing to point the finger at the elites and the people running the countries. Virtually every reaction that falls into that category emphasizes the profound failures of Western establishment factions. These institutions have spawned pervasive misery and inequality only to spew condescending scorn at their victims when they object. So this is a reject. So this is people getting a chance to vote against this neoliberal, trickle-down, supply side, give all the money to the rich, screw over the workers, crony capitalism that's been taking place in Western democracies. It's not just ours. So when they get a chance to vote against it, they do. And same thing in America. People are like, what's up with Trump? They're all racists. Yeah, there's a lot of people are made vulnerable to racism when they're economically insecure and they've been lied to by their leaders for decades. They start looking for people to blame. In that article, Glenn Greenwald, and it says, in an interview in the New Statesman, the political philosopher Michael Sandel also said that the dynamics driving the pro-Brexit sentiment were now dominant throughout the West generally. I agree. So get this. So the Bernie people in the West, so in America, the Bernie people and a lot of the Trump people feel the same agitation, except the Bernie people diagnose the problem correctly and the solutions, and the Trump people don't. They diagnose the problem incorrectly, meaning they think it's Mexicans or they think it's Muslims or they think it's whatever, and then they also misdiagnose the solution. The solution isn't to give Donald Trump the reins, lower taxes on the wealthy, and anyway. So that's how in the West we're upset too, just like the people in the UK who voted to leave. Goes on in the article, a large constituency of working class voters feel that not only has the economy left them behind, but so has the culture, that the sources of their dignity, the dignity of labor, have been eroded and mocked by developments with globalization, the rise of finance, the attention that is lavished by parties across the political spectrum on economic and financial elites, the technocratic emphasis of the established political parties. So that's also happening in England. That's also happening here. That working class voters feel that the economy has left them behind, and so has their culture. And that we're all sitting here praising globalization, and all that means is their wages are going down and their jobs are being shipped to somebody even more poor and more desperate in a poorer country. And that's why people also want to kneecap the euro, because all the euro really means to people in the West is that they're going to eventually be being paid the same wages as workers in the East. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have this one big neoliberal governing body called the European Union and every time the elites and the banks crash the economy, they do austerity on people. And they keep doing austerity, and they keep screwing over workers, and they're making them insecure. And now it's a race to the bottom globally. And as minute people finally get a chance to vote against it, they're doing it. So yes, is there racism involved? Yes. Is there racism involved with Trump? Yes. But the driving force is economic insecurity that makes people vulnerable to racist demagogues. By the way, most of the Muslim population voted to stay in the UK, voted to stay in Europe, in the European Union. Most of the people in the city, in London, in the cities, in the urban centers, voted to stay in the European Union. You know, didn't people in rural places? The people least affected by immigration voted to leave. The people who have been left out of the economy. So here we go. He goes on. After the market-venerating radicalism of Reagan and Thatcher, the center left, Blair and Clinton and various European parties, managed to regain political office, but failed to reimagine the mission and purpose of social democracy, which became empty and obsolete. So you're hearing a lot of people saying that this is all about racism, Trump's all about racism, Brexit's about racism. That is a very overly simplistic view of what's happening. This is the people standing up. It's happening in America. They're just not all going behind Trump because Bernie Sanders showed up. Bernie Sanders showed up, and all the other Democrats wouldn't because they were afraid of the Clinton machine, all of them. In fact, they're all backing it now, all the other quote-unquote progressives. Senator Sherrod, how about Elizabeth Warren? So Bernie did this because nobody else would, because people feel this way. They're disconnected from their government, and they want to do something to fight back. And they're just and the Democrats, by the way, keep doing it. They keep going farther to the right, pushing people into Trump. They offer no solutions. They offer no alternative. Hillary Clinton offering nothing to people. She has no ideas on how to bridge the gap of income disparity. She has no income inequality. She has no ideas. She's for the TP. She's gonna. Oh, now she's against it. She's gonna flip. Believe me. So that's my first take on Brexit. That's my first take. Not all about racism. It's about the elites in Western democracies screwing over workers repeatedly, extracting wealth from workers and handing it to the upper 5-10% of people in their countries, suppressing wages, screwing over workers. And then when their economies go bankrupt, what do? They give austerity. Look what they're doing to Greece. What? Anyway, we could talk about this all day long. I want to make the point quickly, and we're going to do more videos on this coming up, believe me. That's not what this is about. This isn't all about racism. This is about a revolt against the ruling elite of Western democracies. They let banks take over our economies, and whenever that happens, we have income disparity, we have the Gilded Age, we have 50% of wage earners in America making less than $30,000, the richest country in the face of the earth. Don't believe the hype about Brexit.